Breaking news!
Everybody has to wear masks again in Spain. What? Everybody? What's going on? Is COVID back? Stick around and you'll find out. Welcome to YouTooSpain News. Let's dance! Hi, I'm Scats, and so am I. And here's the breaking news. From today, Wednesday the 10th of January, the Spanish government is imposing the mandatory use of masks in all health facilities in Spain, according to the newspaper Sur in English. Why? Because the influenza virus is sweeping the country. That's the flu! It's almost like an epidemic! There's nothing almost about it. It is an epidemic. Isn't the mask rule only in certain regions, though? That was the original proposal. It was going to be up to individual regions to impose their own regulations based on how the virus was spreading. So why has the government stepped in and imposed it on everyone? Because the regions couldn't decide on whether to make it a suggestion or an obligation, and in which facilities the masks should be worn. There have been spikes in viruses over the past few days, so it's become urgent to do something about it across the country. But people get the flu all the time, don't they? Why do we suddenly need to do something different? Because this epidemic is much more worrying. Why? Well, there are loads more cases than before the COVID pandemic. It's more intense than before. Infections are escalating more rapidly. There's been a 75% increase in positive diagnoses in the last week of December. And there are major concerns that the 61% increase in hospitalizations due to the flu could be the beginning of a collapse of the public health system. Wow, that's a bit scary. Why is all this happening now? During the pandemic, most of us were using masks and hand gels and washing our hands regularly, which meant not only the reduction of COVID spreading, but it reduced the spread of the flu too. But then we stopped using them. Exactly, that opened the door to the flu again. And then the cold weather hit, which is the usual time for viruses to take hold. So, masks on then. That's right, you should do that in all health facilities, like hospitals, health centres, nursing homes, etc. Anything else we need to know? Yes, the government are also considering a measure of self-certification of 3 days sick leave for those with a minor illness. This is to ease the burden on doctors in health centres. They normally have to be the ones signing people off work, but this will create time to deal with the epidemic. But how can I tell whether I've got the flu when the symptoms are so similar to COVID and even to a common cold? Okay, with both the flu and COVID, you can get a sore throat, a cough and nasal congestion. But with a cold, these symptoms are slower to appear and can be accompanied by sneezes, congestion and a runny nose that COVID does not cause. And the symptoms of a cold are usually much milder than those of the flu. What are the flu symptoms then? Well, that virus can be fatal if it creates complications, especially for the more vulnerable segments of the population. The most common symptoms are high fever, muscle aches, headache and throat pain, fatigue, dry cough and nasal congestion. And all of these symptoms can appear quite suddenly. And COVID? The symptoms of the current strain of COVID are a dry cough, muscle and throat pain, tiredness, fever, nasal congestion, an altered heart rate and loss of taste and or smell. There can also be diarrhea and nausea and even loss of appetite or hoarseness. So what should we do? Because the viruses are spread by droplets or by very direct contact with people, it seems to be a good idea to wear a mask and wash your hands regularly if you think you have the symptoms. But the advice is to go to the doctor to find out which condition you have. Anything else to report? Not right now, but don't forget to subscribe and click on the bell, and you'll be the first to get all the latest news, updates and opinions. What does it cost? Absolutely nothing. It's a win-win-win with a cherry on top. Yes indeedy. See you on the next video, and look out for my video diaries too. They're all about personal health issues. People are finding them very, very useful. Peace and love. Peas and fluff. Let's dance.